Yeah, they're all good folks.
Yeah, I think I met you through Chris Logan. I'm
Maybe.
pretty sure I interviewed Chris Logan, and then I think Chris connected me with you. So shout out to Chris Logan. Okay, guys, we're live. So David, if you want to go ahead and get us started, we can get rolling.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Small Market Sessions. I'm your co-host, David Dean, with Travis Goodwin. We got a really special guest today. His name's Wyatt Reed, and we'll kind of go through his bio here. He's a real estate investor, entrepreneur, and a coach known for helping aspiring investors build wealth through creative real estate strategies and cash flowing properties. Over the years, he has built a growing real estate portfolio while also mentoring others on wholesaling, seller financing, flipping houses, long term investing. Originally gaining traction through social media, real estate education platforms, Wyatt has become recognized for his practical, action oriented approach to investing, especially for beginners looking to get started without massive amounts of cash or experience. Wyatt is also co-founder of Fund Your Success, a real estate investment company focused on helping investors grow wealth through real estate-backed opportunities. His work centers around acquisitions, capital raising, seller financing strategy, and building scalable systems within the real estate business. He's known for his energetic style and motivation approach. Wyatt frequently shares insights on house flipping, seller finance, creative finance, real estate entrepreneurship, building passive income, mindset, and personal growth. Man, Wyatt is into everything, man.
That's a lot. That was a lot. I feel
That's a
like
lot.
I am into a lot of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So, a lot of that stuff is a lot of the same stuff that we're doing. And so it's kind of right in our path and right in our wheelhouse.
Heck
So
yeah.
just go ahead, Wyatt, if you want to, and just kind of start, give us your story, how you got started in real estate, or what was that moment that
And it feels it honestly, and I know you guys will probably feel this too, but it feels like a lifetime.
yeah.
I mean, it's been 7, 8 years now since I started, and so before I started, I was working in factories. I started as a just a person on the line running a screwdriver. Worked in maintenance, worked in engineering, just kind of worked my way up. I kind of had that hustle, and just kind of kept working my way up, and then I got to a point to where I just always felt like there was more, right? Like my parents owned a restaurant they still own it. 35 years plus. My grandpa started it, and so that's not really what I wanted to do because I grew up in it. But I knew there was always something more, right? And there's something that I could build. And I just got to a point where I thought that I wanted to be, right? I had my house, I had my family, I had my vehicles, I had the job that I thought I wanted, and there was, I don't know, I just felt like there was more, right? And so I started YouTubing, how to build a business, how to make money, what's the best way to do it passively, and that's a joke, right? Um, but I seen this dude named Chris Crone. I'm sure most of you guys know him, but he was in the BMW i8, and back then that was the big house, the car, that kind of caught my attention. And it's funny how like when you get into this stuff, how none of that really matters as much as you grow and do. So that's a little bit about me as far as previous to real estate. I hired a mentor. I tried to do it on my own for about 3 or 4 months. Couldn't get nowhere. Hired a mentor. Took off after that, and man, just real estate coaching, hard money lending, just it's just grown and grown and grown every year, and I'm blessed to be able to do this.
Man, that's great. I really appreciate your story, man. And it sounds a lot like a lot of us through the years, kind of, you know, a lot of people talk about, they read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, or they,
That
they,
was the first one.
yeah,
That
you do,
was it.
you do some stuff like that, man. And the light bulb goes off and you go, hey, I, I see things a little different now. So,
Right.
and it,
Right.
and it kind of puts you on that path. So let's go back. Let's kind of zoom out and go back and um, what was the first real estate deal that made you realize that this business could really change your life and you can make a living at it? So what was
Yeah.
that? first?
Yeah, I mean the first deal I done, I always tell everybody that first deal that you do. After that, no matter if it goes good or not so good, it breaks those chains, that the limiting beliefs, the you start to trust the process, like there it just opens so many more doors, and so it gives you so much more confidence in yourself. So yeah, I came into it. I didn't want to be a wholesaler, because that just kind of it did. I didn't know what I didn't know. You know what I mean? So I just didn't want to be a wholesaler. I wanted the passive incomes. I wanted to be a landlord, which now I'll tell you that's awful too. So sometimes, I'll tell you a better way after we get into it. But so I bought a single family rental. I done the Burr method. I kind of rode the coattail of my mentor's back. He gave me the hard money lenders. Just like we do. People come in and we refer them to our guys that we've used, and because we know that they can get it done. And so it went really good. I bought this little house in Huntsville, Alabama, and it's funny because I didn't really treat it like a business. I wanted to go in and do some of the work myself, and I'm not a handyman, like not at all. I can't even hang mini blinds, right? So we got in there. It was the middle of summer. It was a nasty house. It was terrible. There were roaches. It was awful. It stunk. Me and my wife in the middle of summer were painting this thing, and the HVAC was jacked up, so there was no AC, and so both of us got sick. Come to find out, the AC only took like $600 to fix. But I didn't know the process of where I should start. I just wanted to get in there and paint and do and accomplish something. But you're supposed to treat the business like a business. Let professionals do what they do, and don't wear all the hats, right? But that was once I went through that, it appraised good. I had a tenant in there. And that just kind of opened my eyes that okay, I can do this now. Now it's time to start building a portfolio, right?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, talk back to the rental thing. It's anything but easy or passive,
Oh,
right?
goodness.
You know,
My goodness.
I tell people that all the time, and I get a lot of pushback on it. And when I say, um, cash flow and rental property, sometimes like seeing the Bigfoot. You hear about it, and people say it's out there, but there's never really any proof. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, from rental properties, if to make money in them, sometimes you got to have a lot of them. Or I tell a lot of people, maybe even commercial real estate's a little better. I
Yeah.
found a little better fit for me in the commercial side than the residential side. But kind of building off of that, early on, what mistakes did you make when you started out? Like, we talk about a lot of successes, but we like to talk about, when we get our hind ends kicked or our nose busted, that's kind of where the true learning comes from. And I was talking to a house flipper in our area yesterday. He and I talked for an hour, and he said, you really learn something when you lose a lot of money.
Oh
That's
my gosh.
the best teacher ever. So,
Yeah.
so give us an example where you lost some money and you learned some valuable lessons.
Yeah, I think I had a lot of success in the beginning, and I think it's great. But it kind of gave me a big head. Oh, look at me, look what I've done, and it didn't help that I had other people that were kind of building me up, and it was great. But I got to my second flip. I'd already bought like 3 rental properties. I had done a flip. I had completely gutted like an 800 square foot 2-bed 1-bath that was 2 hours away from me. It was a deal that I would not ever even look at or touch today, right? But that was my first flip. I wanted to flip something so bad, I mean, you guys know how it is, especially the new guys. Like, for some reason, flipping is so sexy to us, right? HGTV or what have you. But man, so I'd done really well on that one. And then my second one came, and the inspector was like, hey man, this house has all kinds of problems. You don't want to touch this thing. And I was like, man, I know what I'm doing. I just gutted a house. I just done this. I done that. I bought 3 rental properties. I know what I'm doing, And so I kept coming back to the wholesaler though, and I was like, hey, this is what the inspector said. I don't think I'm gonna do it, and just trying to talk him down, And he come down 3 times, and he come down a lot. and that should have thrown red flags right there, right? And I just kept on trucking, and I got some contractors in there that we half done it, and they were like, well, you could save some money here, and you can do this, and this is the worst part. It was all structural issues. So a lot of people are scared of structural issues, but if you get a good like structure guy, structure engineer on your team, and you go and have it quoted and have it properly done, like that shouldn't scare you. Like nothing in the house should scare you as long as you have the right people to go in and tell you, hey, this is what you need to do, right? But I didn't have that back then, and they were just kind of like, hey, you can save money here and cut these corners and do this. Well, I did, and then it got to market, and those problems were big problems, in the inspection, and I had these two duplexes that we were doing too at the time in Huntsville. This was up in Tennessee, and we pulled all the money from the duplexes to put into this flip and finish it off, and then we ended up not selling it for what we thought we were going to sell it for, and so ended up losing about $60,000, and that wasn't my money, right? That was a hard money lender, private money lender. I mean, it was a mess, and it caused me to, I sat out I went in and I was doing stuff trying to get it fixed. My contractors, I'd been through like 3 different contractors. I was trying to do some stuff on my own. I had no clue what I was doing. And I kind of put my head in the ground, put my head under the covers. I hid for about a week or two, and I was like, what am I going to do? I was crying. I lost everything, I'd done like slashed my, I'm not an angry person. I'm very like, I'm not aggressive or I hate all of that, but I like sliced my hand open because I punched my steering wheel, right? Like it was the worst point. I feel like it was the worst point in my entire career as an investor, and I had a buddy come up to me and was like, hey, you can't keep putting your head, you can't keep hiding. Call the banks, call the hard money lender, tell them what you're going through. They only want to help you, right? And so I did, and that was about the time that I joined like the Ascend Mastermind with Steve Cavanaugh and Alex Pardo. We actually ended up buying that years later, but there was a guy in there, and I was telling this story. I was going through it. I was on the tail end of it, and I was in the mastermind retreat, and I was telling this story, and this guy across from me, I was the youngest, most inexperienced kid in the room, right? And the guy looked at me, and he was like, if you think that this is all you're gonna lose, you might as well just quit now, right? He's like, what you got to do is you got to sit down, you got to communicate, you got to come up with a plan, and you got to just take action to get out, right? And it did. It took about a year to get everybody paid up. We struggled on the duplexes afterwards because we used all that money, and it was a struggle there for a year because of those mistakes, right? But now I look back on it and I'm like, man, that taught me so much. It taught me about how to communicate. It taught me about how to manage things better. I learned some of the most important things in that deal. So
yeah, man, we learned valuable lessons and losses like that, and if you're in this business, any length of time whatsoever, at some point you're going to lose some money. You're going to lose some deals. Those things are just going to happen, and we just kind of got to, I always say, keep chopping wood and carrying water, man. We just got to keep on keeping on. I mean,
that's it.
And
that's what it takes to be successful, though. I mean, you're not going to meet a CEO or an owner of a business and then be like, oh yeah, I've never once had a problem, right? I mean, it's the people who continue to solve the problems and move forward even when it's hard that's going to be successful. I mean, that's it.
Yeah. I'm an old football coach, and and I've been around the game a long time, and that's the biggest thing I think sports teaches people and teaches kids and teaches us all is just that, because I started off in Southern West Virginia, probably one of the worst markets in America, and that's where I used to flip houses in the coal fields, and my goodness, I made every mistake, stepped in every bear trap, every hole that you can imagine, but
Mm-hmm.
just you want to hide your head, but you pick yourself back up and you keep working and you keep working and eventually you figure it out. And that's what this business is about, is just figuring it out at some point,
Yep. Yep.
just keep working, man. So I got another question that I'll let Travis, I'm sure he's got some stuff. In today's market, what separates investors who are surviving from those that are scaling and doing great?
Yeah.
What do you think is going on out there?
Man, that's tough, man. Real estate. I know you guys have seen it. It's gotten harder, right? We got so I don't know if you guys were doing this in 2019, how long you guys have been doing this, but like we got so spoiled in 2019, 2020, when things would just, you throw a piece of junk up and you get $30,000 over asking price, right? And that was just so wild, and we got so spoiled with it. And so being able to pivot is so important, right? And I think luckily for me, I was so small that I didn't really have a team back then. It was just me and my wife, and a VA, right? But I was surrounded by a bunch of very successful people, and when we went through COVID, I seen them pretty much cut most of their entire team, right? And through that, I kind of learned how to build a lean team versus a big team. I never had the passion to run a huge team, anyways, right? I didn't want to be the guy that scaled up 100 employees or whatnot, right? But that's one of the big things that all of that taught me, and being around people who did have big teams was, if you can figure out how to scale lean and move right, that's very, very important, especially in today's market, because things have gotten so hard. Days on market are up, things aren't selling as fast. You got to go above and beyond with your flips if that's what you're doing. There's a lot more competition, so it's just being able to pivot and be lean, I think, is very important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've kind of done that all my life. I've been around it for 20 some years, and if you stay lean, you stay fast.
That's it.
So you can pivot and you can do things a lot quicker than when you got a big team to build out. And the biggest thing I see with house flippers and a lot of different people is they want to hire a lot of in-house people and their own construction people, and then all of a sudden the business becomes about feeding the machine.
Right. That's right.
And they're buying properties, and we're out here looking at them, and we're offering this, and they're offering. We're like, oh my god! Yeah, I mean,
we did.
Money.
Yeah, even though I say that, I never built a big team, but we at one point we were like flipping 6 or 7 properties a month, or not a month, but at a time. And we were spending $30,000-$40,000 a month on office, employees, expenses, and we didn't have a big team. But that right there just goes to show you how quickly that can add up. And if you've got $40,000 to $50,000 a month in expenses, and you've got to, like you said, you've got to feed that machine, and you've got to make a certain amount of money just to be able to pay everybody. And when we first started growing like that, I tell people all the time, some of our employees were making more money than we were. Like, we weren't taking salaries because we were trying to just keep the business going for months and months and months. And so I tell people that, and I'm like, you've got to be able to make that sacrifice sometimes. I don't want anybody to have to do it that way. I want to be able to teach them the right way, what I learned. Don't do it the way I did it, right? But at the same time, sometimes you just got to go through that, and see it. So
what's the best Wyatt, what's the best way for someone if somebody's going through that right now, like if they're at that phase where their overhead's killing them, they're barely surviving, they're not eating, what's a good way to try to clean that up? How did you do it?
I think it just it took us hitting a wall, and we were, like I said, so just to kind of give y'all some background on it, I came in, like I said, I didn't want to be a wholesaler, so I've started buying rental properties, but I quickly learned that being a landlord sucked too, right? And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to start flipping. And then I learned from some of the bigger guys that really you're building a marketing company, and you're doing what makes the most sense with these deals. Like I can wholesale some of these deals without being a wholesaler, right? I'm a well-rounded investor. I'm going to hold some of these, and I'm going to flip some of these, and this, that, and the other. And that can be a whole can of worms in itself, doing all these different strategies in one company, right? So it took us hitting a wall, and the tax returns were saying, well, you made all this money, and it was like the first year I was like blown away at what our tax returns said we made, and I was like, well, we're flat broke, we man, in the last 8 years, I bet you we've paid in overdraft fees in our bank account somebody's salary, and it's a high salary too. Um, but yeah, it took us hitting a wall, man, and we started learning the creative financing side of things and the seller financing stuff. That's when our business really took a turn for the better, right? And we just pulled all our employees in and luckily we had a small team, but some of those guys were our friends. We didn't go out and hire real estate professionals. We kept it within our group of friends, our communities, but me and my business partner, we were the owners, and that made it even harder. But we just had to have the conversation. Look, guys, we can't keep doing this, and we're either going to have to shut this thing down or figure something else out. And we just started letting people go, and we brought our wives in, which that's another can of worms right there. I always thought of it as I'm trying to replace myself eventually, and I don't want to have to replace myself and my wife. But after several conversations, that's just the way it was, and we brought both of our wives into the business. They became property managers and project managers while we done the acquisitions and the dispositions, and we ran like that for a while. We built up a big portfolio, and now, I was just talking to my partner last night about it, and there are a lot of people struggling right now in real estate. I mean, a lot of people, and I think one of the biggest blessings that we ever, and we didn't even realize until now how big of a blessing it was for us, was built up that portfolio, because now we have the ability to turn and do I can do the hard money lending without having to worry about real estate income feeding me, right? That money's coming in constantly every single month. Now I can take my eyes off of it, not have to grow it as hard, as much, and I can focus on building this hard money lending business, right? And it's such a huge blessing to be able to do that, because I see it with another one of my business partners. He's got a big transactional business. They're flipping and wholesaling and doing wholesales and stuff like that, and he can't just quit as fast as I can to be able to help build this company. They still got to keep it moving, right? So it was a huge blessing that we just didn't realize how big it was, right? But you just got to have hard conversations, man. Just to answer your question, you got to get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations
all around.
Hmm.
Sellers, buyers, employees, partners. I mean, it
Dude,
never ends, right?
It sucks so much, man, and it'll make you can ask my business partner, man. When we first started, he was the guy that put his foot down. Like he was the guy that had the confrontation, because I hate confrontation, right? But now, man, I'll tell him what's up and be done with it. I just want to get it over quick. I still hate it, but I just want to get it over with quick.
Nah, I feel you. So you're not really doing a lot of wholesales right now, right?
Mm-mm.
So let's talk about that hard money if you don't mind. I want to
Yep.
know how did that happen? What made you want to do it, and what's that look like now?
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to do it ever since I learned what it was from the very beginning. It's I feel like if you're in real estate, you know that the bank makes the money, right? And they make it without having to do all the work us investors do, right? The marketing, the contractors, the project managers, the property managers, the everything that we deal with, the bank don't care. They just want to get their money, right? they're just sending wires and receiving wires and lending money and getting it back and getting their interest, right? And so I feel like it's something that I've always wanted to do, and it's something that I've always said we'll probably do, like, to retire, right? I don't think I'll ever retire, but man, we built up the real estate business, the portfolio. It was going great. We started the coaching business, and it started going great. And then I got those to a point to where I was happy with what was coming in. My bills were paid. My everything. I'm living a good life, right? I get to do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it. Nobody can tell me any different. And so I was like, okay, well, there was a event in Chattanooga. It was, we went to an event in Chattanooga and Atlanta. They were both private money lender events. And, there we got to get away from everything. You know how it is if you go on a trip, like, out of your home, out of your community. There's more freedom to be able to think about things at a high level, because you're not being reactive anymore. You're away from the business, essentially, right? And so most all of my biggest ideas or my businesses that I've built have been built away, like at cabins, in somewhere away where I can be around other people. I can think clearly. I'm not in the day-to-day. And so we done that. And me and my business partner from Atlanta, and he's always wanted to be a hard money lender too. And I said, okay, well, how do we do this? What do we need to do to be able to do this? And from something I didn't even realize was that through building the real estate investing business, through building the coaching business, through working with so many people over the past 8 years, I've built a huge borrowers list, right? And so now that we started raising capital, we started making calls to people we work with, people we know that have money, and we started, just raising capital like crazy. The first 8 months, we raised 1.9 million. We're right at 2 million. We should finish off the end of next month with 4.2 million, right? And we're just constantly raising. You could write me a check for $8 million right now. I'd have it gone in less than 3 months, because we're turning away loans so much because of that borrow. So we were blessed in the fact that most hard money lenders are finance guys, right? That just have a lot of money. They're lending their own money. They don't really know a lot about real estate, but we're operators, and we have all of these borrowers. So their hardest part is getting the borrowers. They have the money. Our hardest part is getting the money, because we have the borrowers now, right? And so, I mean, we have to be at 8 to 10 million just to go public outside of our coaching community, outside of our own deals. And it was just something that we sat down, we put on paper, and we were like, man, why we should have started this a lot sooner, right? So, and I love it, man. It's been the most fun business, most fun business we've ever started, most profitable business, like as profitable, as quick as it was, the quickest, most profitable business. I don't know. I maybe y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah. So how do we simplify that? Just because we're speaking a lot of words right now that you and I understand, David, real estate people. But what if I don't really know real estate? Like, how could we simplify that? Like, you're helping people fund deals or get money when they don't have any money. Maybe they can't get it. It's harder to deal with banks. You're easier to deal with, right?
Right. Yeah. Easier, quicker. You don't have to sacrifice your kids to get a loan, right? Cut off your arm or anything like that. So in real estate, it takes money to buy properties. It takes money to rehab properties. And you get on YouTube, and they're always talking about, well, do this with little to no money out of your pocket. Like, you get on my Facebook or YouTube, that you hear me say it all the time, little to no money. I still use hard money. My money is for me, and my family, and for me to put into marketing if that's what I want to do, and to build the business. Your money should, in my opinion, and other people will think differently, I like to leverage other people's money to buy the real estate and rehab, because my money is used to grow the business and to live the life that I want to live, right? So since day one, I've used hard money, private money lenders. I've gotten 100% on every deal that I've ever done, 100% financing. And even if I didn't get it from the hard money lender, I would go to a bridge lender, which is just a bridge or gap lender. They bridge the gap between what you do have and what you don't have. So I've never put my own money into purchasing or rehabbing a house. And so that's what we mean. That's when you hear that, that's what that means. So you go to this individual or this business who loans out money based on more on the deal than the person. So does that make sense? Does that help a little bit? Still probably
Yeah,
talking
man.
too high level.
No, that's what I was looking for, man. Sometimes you got to explain to me like I'm 10. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, I just think that like real estate guys and girls, we use a lot of words that confuse joint venture. Like sometimes it's easier just to say, connect with partners, connect with somebody who can help you do the deal instead
Right.
of the word joint venture. So I just wanted to dumb it down a little bit, because when I first started, if you would have told me 8 years ago that, hard money lenders, I wouldn't have known what you were talking about. There's no way.
Right.
I'd be like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So you could, if I'm starting out and I want to, hotel, if I want to maybe double close, if I want to flip a house, if I want rental properties,
Mhm.
I can reach out to these money lenders and possibly get some money, is what you're saying.
Yeah, man, the money part's the easy part. And people stress about that, and getting the deal, getting a good solid deal. That's the hard part. Finding the deal. You got a deal, you can get money. You can call Travis, you can call me, you can call David, and even if we don't have any money, we can connect you with our hard money lenders that we use, our private money lenders that we use, or we can at least put you on the right path to get it right. But I know there are so many hard money lenders looking to move their money, and I wouldn't worry about the money. I'd worry about the deal.
Well, how do we find it, Wyatt? What's the best way right now for these guys to go out and find a really good deal?
Dude, I'll tell you, like I said, real estate's gotten hard. But I'll tell you this: the free lead sources are some of the best lead sources. Like we still pay for marketing, but free lead sources are the best. Wholesalers, MLS, we're making 5 to 10 offers a day on the MLS, right? I mean, it's low hanging fruit. It's so easy. You find the deals, and right now we're just pitching offers out to realtors. We're texting them out. Hey, this we're local to this area. We see you got this house listed. We'd like to give you a cash offer of this. We'll pay all the closing. We'll do this, that, and the other. Super, super simple. And same with wholesalers. So I would say those two, especially if you're just getting started. That's how I got my first 5 deals. Was wholesalers and MLS, right? Once you get to where the company can afford to, you got to treat it like a business, right? Don't do things that you can't afford, right? Do the free stuff until the business can afford to do it, right? My mentor always said, revenue in first position, right? So if you can't afford it, don't do it. Easy peasy. But once you get some money in your pocket, I highly suggest putting it into marketing. We started out doing texting, cold calling, which is a hustle in itself. Those are not the best leads. You got to work them hard. And then we got into postcards, which were a little bit better, right? And then once we started getting consistency, we got into more digital marketing like PPL and PPC and stuff like that. It's all a grind, man. It all works. Like, don't ever let anybody tell you none of it works, because, it all works. The biggest thing in paid marketing is consistency. You've got to be consistent. You got to build up enough data month over month to pull the lever, right? Flip the switch, turn the knob. It's build up the data, make educated guesses on how to critique it, right? Build up some data. Don't just change it every month. Most people, like, a big mistake that I see most new investors make is they'll get in there and they'll send one postcard campaign and they'll be like, well, it didn't work, right? I need to do something else. Like, no, you got to do this for 3 to 6 months. Understand your KPIs, your key performance indicators, or I just break it down. How much money did you spend that month? How many contacts did you get? How many appointments did you go on? And how many contracts did you get, right? From those four things, you know how to maneuver 3 to 6 months down the road to adjust your marketing, right? If you're not getting anything after 3 to 4 months, then yeah, you may need to have a conversation with somebody and say, hey, I don't think this is working. These are my KPIs. I always tell people, don't tell me it's not working and not bring me numbers, right? If you're going to tell me something's not working, bring me the numbers, and then I'll tell you if it's working or not. If you're getting the appointments, if you're getting the contacts, but you're not getting the contracts, it may not be the marketing, it may be your sales, right? It may be the way you're conversating with these people, the way you're pitching these offers. But if you're not getting the leads, you're not getting the appointments, then maybe it is the marketing, right? So there's multiple things it could be, but people are so quick to just say, it's not working, right?
Yeah, it's a constant. It's checking your KPIs 3 to 6 months. You're testing marketing, and while you're doing that, you also got to get better, like Wyatt said, at your skills.
Oh my
You got to
gosh.
make sure that every conversation you're getting better. And with AI now, it makes it so much easier because
Yeah.
these calls can be recorded. Then you can take that transcript, you can put it into Chat GPT or Claude or whatever. You can get notes. You can get. I mean, it's just so much easier than it used to be. There's not as much guessing, but you still gotta, okay, Claude, Chat GPT, what did I do? What could I do better at here? Then the
Mhm.
next time, do a little bit better. And the better your skills are, the better you'll provide to the marketplace. And that's what matters. So yeah, I like that. David, you got anything you want to add in?
Hey, I'll add this real quick too. On the other end, I also see people like hiring VAs super quick before they even know how to sell themselves, right? So, like, how do you expect to have a competent salesperson if you don't know how to train them? If you're not doing the calls, if you're not talking to the people, you don't know how. When we hired our first VA, we were on the phone with him every day. We made him get on Zoom, and we would listen to him during the phone calls, right? He'd turn his camera off because it was a little, we'd all turn our cameras off because we didn't want to be staring at him and anything. But like, we trained this dude, and he, Manuel from the Philippines became Manny from Alabama real quick, and it was a game changer. But you got to know how to teach these guys, man. You got to be that's one thing that when you start to scale, when you start to hire. You can't just throw these guys to the wolves. You got to spend time with them and train them.
Yeah, definitely the case. Okay, if we kind of cater, our whole thing is we kind of cater to people in small markets and the little towns and the country towns all across America. And so, if somebody lives in a small market or a rural area, like many of us do, what strategy would you recommend that they start with first?
Yeah.
In a market like we have here today, what what would it be?
Yeah, I tell people, man, keep an open mind as far as strategies go, because you don't want to lose out on money just because I just want to flip this house, right? Or I just want to wholesale. If you come in and you just say, well, I want to wholesale so I can get money to buy rentals, right? Well, then you're going to miss those flip opportunities because you're just trying to lowball cash offer people, right? I tell people all the time, I will beat you out every time because I've got 4 offers, 3 other offers besides my lowball cash offer. And I hope they do take my lowball cash offer, because the better you get at sales, the lower that offer gets. The more strategies you have, the lower that lowball offer gets, right? That cash offer gets. So I just say keep an open mind, do the marketing, look at these properties, and from the very beginning, I've had an Excel calculator that showed, okay, here are my flip numbers, here are my buy and hold numbers, here are my wholesale numbers, here's my novation numbers. So like, I'll put it all in all of those, and I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to start with the wholesale offer, and then I'll just move up. And if I can get it and flip it myself and make money, then awesome. That's what I'll do. If I can get it and hold it, that's awesome. But I will tell you this, that's for new people. Like, I wanna make that like clear. Like, you wanna start getting deals, you wanna start doing deals, you wanna start getting those what's the word I'm looking for? Reps in, right? You want to start getting those reps in. As you get those reps in, you'll start to see what you want to do, what you're passionate about, right? I hate flips with a passion. I hate flips. I can't say that enough. I hate flips, right? I hate dealing with contractors. I hate being a landlord now, right? Like I said, when I learned the seller financing, I learned how to be the bank, and there's a common theme to that, right? The hard money lending, the real estate. Being the bank is it's just so much easier, right? So when you start to seller finance, they're paying a mortgage. The tenant buyer's paying a mortgage, right? They're paying your taxes, your insurance. They're maintaining the property because they're buying it. So I'm not saying you are the bank, but you're acting as the bank, right? And you don't call the bank when your toilet starts to overflow, right, or your pipes freeze, right? And so, like I said, when we started transitioning from flipping and buying rentals to seller financing, that's when our business completely changed. Our lives completely changed because we wasn't having people just killing us with maintenance requests and stuff like that. So I'd say keep an open mind when you're first getting started, but figure out what you really like to do, because my other business partner in Atlanta, they love flipping. They've got a good system, they got a good business, they've got a good team, and they turn them left and right, and that's awesome. But I do not want to do that at all. So.
Well, truly, and I've said this many times on these shows that we do, and people that I talk to, is the truest form of passive income in the real estate business is lending or seller finance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, um, Travis said, we say it's all the time, success leave clues. So when you see banks and the way they do things, you can emulate that success and do the same thing. And so, years ago, I would get great deals on houses and they were cheap. And then I would turn around and owner finance them and, put my interest on them and stuff and try to get all my money back within like 3 years, maybe financing on a 5, 7, or 10-year note,
Mm-hmm.
and done a ton of that stuff. And it doesn't come without its problems. It doesn't come without defaults and all the other things, but
Right.
it's truly a passive form. And whether you do it in housing or if you do it in land or whatever the case might be,
Mm-hmm.
it definitely is the best. So I'm with you on that. Do you buy houses with the intent just to owner finance them? Is that what
Yeah.
you guys are doing?
Yeah, for the most part. I'll tell you, I passed up on a flip just this week, just because man, we just moved into our new house. We're working on adopting a little girl. We've got the hard money lending business is just, it's shattering new records every single month. And I just took a step back and I was like, man, do I really want to do this flip? Or and put myself back in the position of, I just don't like doing this just to do a deal, right? But I will tell you this: if I was able to sell or finance that house, there wouldn't have been a second thought. I would have just bought it, and if it would have made sense numbers wise, I'd have just bought it and sell or financed it. But I passed up on it because I at this point in my life, I know what I want to do, and I know where I want to spend my time, and that's just kind of where I'm at. And man, I hope all of you guys get to that point. All you new guys, like, it's truly just I don't know. It still don't seem real some days. I get up. Sometimes I just feel lazy, man. Like, I get up and I'm like, okay, I knocked out everything I had to do before noon, and I'm like, oh man, me and my son are outside playing basketball, enjoying the weather and stuff like that, and it's just, gosh, it's such a blessing, man.
Yeah. So when you're doing these seller finance deals, every state's different the way they do them. I mean, are
Mm-hmm.
you actually doing notes and deeds of trust and transferring ownership over to the people, or are you doing it through land contracts or anything
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah. So if there is debt on the property, we do a land sales contract. If there's no debt, we do a note and a mortgage. Um, but most of our tenant buyers on the back end of the deal, they're all land sales contracts. They're not recorded. That kind of causes issues with the bank and refinancing and stuff like that. Like, we've seen it happen with some people that their attorneys didn't know what they were doing. They recorded it, and then they had a hard time refinancing with the bank, getting that hard money lender their money back. So we do a land sales contract, and you were talking about the balloons and stuff like that. I'm truly in this for the passive income and the longevity of it. And with seller financing, eventually, if they take it all the way through, then you don't have that house anymore, right? That's their house. You got to sign it over to them. So in my market, they care more about what is their monthly payment and what's their entry, what's their down payment, than what the actual debt is and the terms and stuff like that. So we don't put a balloon on ours, and we'll do a 20 to 30 year loan, because if I put that in there, they've got a monthly payment that's 20, 30 year loan. They're going to have our interest rate's high, but they're going to have an affordable payment. And so I don't want to have to deal with those people 3 or 4 years in. We have a good gap between what we're all in for and what we sell it for and stuff like that. And that would be awesome to get that back quick. But for me, I'm all about, I want to keep that cash flow as long as possible, right? So that's what we do. We don't do balloons. We just stretch it out for 20, 30 years and keep it rolling.
Can we explain what a balloon is real quick, guys? I feel like it's somebody's birthday.
Yeah, no, for sure. So if you've put a 5 year balloon, like, let's just say I stretched it out for 30 years, right? I do a 30-year mortgage with these guys, but I say, hey, we got a 5 year balloon, so that makes the payment, what it would be for 30 years, but at 5 years they've got to pay me off, right? So it's better if you're wanting to get that large amount of capital, that difference. So let's just say I'm all in for $100,000 and I sell or finance it for $150,000 and they put $10,000 down, right? So there's a gap of about $40,000 right there, right? So at that 5 year mark, I would have 5 years worth of interest that they paid, and then I'd get that gap, right? Because they'd have to buy it at that point. I don't think, as far as the people that we've worked with in the past, and I've seen this happen a lot, people will do that. People will do it just to turn down payments, right? They'll put a 2 or 3 year balloon in, and they'll want to turn down payments, because most of the people that we work with, they're not going to be able to buy a $180,000 house in 3 years, right? They're not going to be able to refinance in 2 to 3 years. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. But I've seen it been taken advantage of, specifically in my market, and I've had tenants come to me and be very scared to do business with me because of that situation with them, right? So we try to make it so simple, so easy. We don't want a bunch of hiccups or anything like that. If they want to refinance, that's cool. We have a 5 year prepayment, so if they come back and say, hey, I want to pay it off in 2 years, well, you got to finish paying the rest of that 3 years of interest, right? We've got to add that to it. But whatever you want to do, most people will take it out 20 to 30 years. In the past 3 to 4 years that we've been doing it, we've probably had one a year default. And usually, I'll be honest with you, it's the people that I never even wanted to put in there in the first place. Right? Those are the people, right? But it's really cool because most of the time they're doing the maintenance. We've had, I would say, out of 4 defaults in the last 3 to 4 years, only one has trashed the house. The other ones have had it swept clean and handed it back to us. Just, some of them have gone through a divorce. Some of them are, having some financial issues. And we try to work with people too. Like, I don't want to just kick them out, foreclose on them. I want to try to help them. So we'll go above and beyond for our people, as long as they communicate. But if you stop communicating, there's nothing I can do at that point.
Yeah. So do you see most of and when I used to do a lot of this, and I still have a few floating around out there, do you see it usually default will be within 3 years? Thereabouts.
Um, Man, I haven't really tracked that. We've had so little defaults that I haven't really tracked it.
That's great, man.
I would say, just thinking about it, the ones that have been within 3 years for sure. But I would say it's like probably more common in the first year to two. Um, so, but like I said, it had been probably been sitting too long, and we let somebody in that we probably shouldn't have let in, and in the first place. But that's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, I tell these stories, and I had a house I bought years ago in an area called Del Barton. It's in southern West Virginia, and it's in the middle of BFE. And when the hillbilly tells you that, it's really remote. And I sold that thing 7 times over about a 15, 17-year period.
Yeah.
And finally, old boy paid me off, and I was sad. I thought I'm gonna get it one more time, and I'm gonna do it again. So anyway, if you figure up, I paid $6,500 for this house back in the early '90s, and sold that thing, multiple times over the course of 15, 17 years. I mean, you're talking about an ATM machine.
Yeah.
This one little house was an ATM machine.
Man, I'll tell you this, you guys that are new, just download a mortgage calculator. If you got iPhone, it's like the Carl's mortgage calculator. If it's Android, it's just called mortgage calculator. And just put in, like, our average deal that we sell for is around $180,000. We try to stay under 200. Our minimum interest is 10% interest, and then we stretch it out for 20 to 30 years. Go put that in a calculator, and over those 20 to 30 years, look at how much interest is paid. It's absolutely ridiculous. People like to say, well, you don't get the same tax benefits, you don't get to keep the property forever. Nobody's keeping their properties forever, really. Most investors sell their properties every 5 to 10 years. So you look at that number on that mortgage calculator and tell me that that's not generational wealth. If you have 10, 20, 30 of those going at one time, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a great way to do it, and I really like the finance setup. And I moved years ago from an area in southern West Virginia up into Charleston, West Virginia here, and I had some apartment buildings and stuff. And to sell them and move like we did, I've done a lot of financing on them, and those guys are still paying me, and still got 10, 12 years left on the notes. And they're just, so it's a great way to do it. I just check in every year, make sure the insurance, make sure the taxes are paid, and that's
it's a lot of management, right? But it's a lot about not management of the properties, but management of your systems, right? And how you qualify people. Like, you can't just let everybody with a down payment in, right?
Right, for sure.
Because I've seen it both ways. Like, I'm listening to you guys, and you guys, man, I want to go out and get a bunch of these myself, but then I've seen the other side of it too, as a wholesaler, tired landlords, people who's had these problems. I know guys personally that's, stacked up these land contracts, and maybe they didn't do the proper due diligence and ran into a lot of trouble later. Like, this is a serious business, guys, is what I'm saying. Like, it is great. And like David said, you can have one property and make money over and over again, but all it takes is one bad house and one bad tenant to ruin everything, so it's a lot of making sure you're doing the right thing. So, I think if it was me and I wanted to get started doing this, I'd reach out to David, or I'd reach out to Wyatt, and I'd get them behind me and make sure they were guiding me on this, because I've seen it go the other way. It's all I want. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in.
I say this in almost every podcast I do, man. Like, if you don't have a mentor, you need one. And I'm not trying to sell any of us. You just need a mentor. I've never, in my last 7 to 8 years of doing this, I've never not had a mentor in place. So I'm not telling you to do something that I don't do. Whether that's when I first started, I'll just kind of take you through this. When I said I wanted to get into real estate, I hired a mentor to teach me how to get into real estate. When I wanted to scale it up and take it to the next level, I hired a mentor to teach me that. When I wanted to start coaching, I hired a mentor to teach me how to start coaching, and the systems and the processes. And I don't want to recreate the wheel. It's been created. Let me ride the coattail of somebody who's doing it and doing it well, and doing it the the way that I want to do business morally. Like I want somebody I don't want somebody on Facebook Reels cussing and like talking trash about people. Like I don't want those to be my mentors, right? But maybe you do. You just need to find somebody who you want to be like and ride their coattails. This hard money lending business, we joined a mastermind for hard money lending, right? So always have been coached by people.
Yeah, and be willing to be coachable. Like me and David just joined well, David joined it, but I'm his partner. He just joined a great mentorship, and he told me one of the things he told me when he first joined this, he looked at me and he said, well, he was on the phone, he didn't look at me. He said, Travis, like if these people tell us we need to do something, we have to do it. No matter how we feel about it, no matter if we've been doing something this certain way for the past 6 months, if they tell us to change it, we have to change it. So yeah,
Yeah.
you got to be coachable. I come from like I don't want people to tell me what to do. Like that's why I started wholesaling. I'm at the pizza place, my manager's telling me, "Hey, do that pizza this way." And I'm like, "No." But now the hardest part for me getting started with mentors was when my mentor told me something and I wanted to argue with it. Like, no, 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 no. But yeah, you got to listen.
Yeah, yeah. I was coaching one way, which one of my mentors taught me how to coach that way. That's when I first started. That was who I learned from, and then I got with Tom, which I think Travis, Tom. He was like, "No, you're doing this completely wrong. You should not be doing this. This is a liability to you. You're gonna get sued for this and that and the other." And he's like, do this." And I've always done exactly what Travis said. Yes, sir. Whatever you say, even if I don't like it, I'm going to do it because you know better than me, right? And so within the first year of working with Tom, I done triple the amount of coaching students that I did doing it the first way, right? It was insane. And I was able to that was my thing is I was able to help more people. Like, how do I help more people do this? And he's like, here, just do this, and it worked, right? So
Well, we appreciate you, man. We're running out of time. We're about to hit 3 o'clock, but how can if people want to maybe get coaching from you, or if they just want to talk to you and get to know you a little bit more, what's the best way to do that, Wyatt?
yeah, just find me on Facebook. I'm in this group, I believe. I mean, I can make a post if you want me to, or you can. I think you've already made a flyer of me, right? And the picture you used was my profile picture, so you guys should know. So just add me on Facebook and just DM me, and we'll talk. I'm pretty active on Facebook, so.
Awesome. Yeah, we appreciate you coming, man. We hope to have you back and continue building with you and learning and just seeing your whole process and as you grow this hard money business and everything else you're probably going to do. I'm sure that this is just the beginning.
Yeah,
Um,
we got some
before we
other
go,
things.
is there anything else you want to say? I know David has something to say at the end, but do you have anything else you'd like to say, like a last minute, like maybe tip or anything that you can leave with people?
No, man, you guys just need to take action. That's it. Take action and be consistent, and you'll be successful, right? But thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, everybody. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching today. We thank Wyatt for being on here with us. Just great knowledge, great stuff. And I'm a seller finance junkie myself, so it kind of plays right into to what I love to do in the business as well. And it's a great way to make money passively, truly passively, not rentals. And so thank you for that. Also, we wanted to announce on the call that we've opened up a 30-day boot camp. It's Small Market REI Boot Camp, and we want to invite you guys to check it out. If you want to learn from us, kind of get some one-on-one from Travis and I, you'll get us a couple hours a week for 30 days. I think it's a great opportunity for you to do some learning and be involved. So uh, check us out at smreibootcamp.com. That's where we'll be, and we'll.
Can I interrupt you? Can I show I'm
Yeah,
really proud. We did our landing page, and it's the first landing page we've ever done. Elijah on here, he's for he's just our superstar. Can I show it real quick? It'll be real
yeah,
quick. All right, I just want to show it because I'm really proud of it. Like I'm not trying, if you guys want to buy it, that's cool, but
yeah.
this is it. It's go from not talking to sellers to confident conversations in 30 days. You can go to the link and watch a little video David did that just
Hey,
explains the
Coach, here, if you're
process.
watching,
And it's just something that we wanted to do. It's very affordable, and we're going to walk you guys through the whole process. So if you want to just message me or David after this, we'll get you the application link. But if not, no hard feelings at all. But I just wanted to bring that up.
That's a
yeah,
nice landing page, man. That's good.
Thank you, man.
yeah, thank you, man. So yeah,
Thank you, Elijah.
we put it out this morning. We've already got a bunch of people signed up, and so we got limited spots. We're only because we don't do a ton of coaching and stuff. So, but we think it'll be worthwhile, and we're going to provide good value. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching again, and always remember, solve a problem, get a paycheck. Thank you for watching.